What a distinct pleasure. And you got the picture. She can't see it. I don't want to read the book, because you can do that and know all about Junne's many years in this industry. I only have 2 minutes, and I believe in the old story, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if I give you 1,000 words, that'll be related to that picture. Junne and I met each other many years ago, back in the 70s as a matter of fact, and we both were very active in our respective, quote, pharmaceutical marketing clubs. Junne became president of the OPMA here in Ontario in 78, 79. And in 77, 76, I was president of the Pharmaceutical Marketing Club of Quebec. In those days, we called it the PAC. So both of us kind of crossed paths in many ways, besides the fact that she was a buyer and I was a seller. And through her career, she became a buyer and a seller and a customer, you know, and a supplier, and all the things that we all did to make our living and have a good time. And yes, there were good old days. We go back to the old days of the real good old days. Most of you guys weren't even around in those days. But Junne and I were there, and we certainly had our share of good fun. One of my best friends always said about how successful he was, they'd say, gee, you were successful, you were really lucky. And he'd always say, you know what, it's funny, the harder I worked, the luckier I got. Well, that applies to a lot of us, and I know you're all out there in the same vein, but this was the way we were back in those 70s and 80s. We got lucky because we worked hard, but we had another secret too. We played hard. We had a good life in those days. We were very, very active. We were very active in our clubs. We had golf tournaments. If you went to the Quebec golf tournaments, they had a big dance afterwards. You know, I mean, it was a hell of a time. I mean, so we were fortunate to live through a time when the social side of business was just as important as the business. And anyhow, it's such a distinct honor for me and a privilege to introduce to you my old and dearest friend, Junne Hinckley-Page, to receive the Chronicle Healthcare Marketing Hall of Fame Award. Junne.
Okay. Thank you, Cliff, for those words. You were about to get us into trouble, I think.
We're too old for that.
When I first joined this industry many, many years ago, there were two things that struck me immediately. One was the quality of the people. Wonderful, committed people. And the second was the dynamics of the industry. You could never be bored. It was always changing, always a new challenge. I was fortunate enough to view this industry from several viewpoints, but the first was probably the most important, and that was with McNeil. And, excuse me, I thank Doug Tate for having the faith in me to promote me to product manager, and for his early support in those years. When it came time for me to go, because I needed to go in order to grow, I entered the advertising field. And that was a whole new challenge. But I thank there Bob Platt, Victor Petrenko, and Doug Bollinger for seeing me through those stimulating but fun years. Taking on an opportunity with the University of Toronto Faculty of Medicine led me into CME. And it was a wonderful blend of marketing, medical, and a little bit of showbiz. Carrying on in CME with the launch of Core Communications, I got further involved into CME and loved it. And in that regard, I must mention my dear associate, Dr. Donald Rice, who was my medical director, was both a wonderful associate and a man of unquestionable trust. At that time, I guess, sat down and said, okay, where are you going to go, Junne? So I counted up all the people I'd met over the years and all the wealth of information I'd gathered and decided to open up my small agency, Hinckley-Page Consultants, and I would live there happily for a few years. I'm retired now, but I still keep in touch. And the two things that I started this business with still hold true today. It's a challenging, dynamic business, and the people are great. I have to thank Mitch Shannon and the group over at the Chronicles for this honor, and I am humbled to be an inductee into the Healthcare Marketing Hall of Fame. Thank you.